Most founders don't burn out because they are weak. They burn out because their mind is running 1,000 tabs. Money, decisions, expectations, and the fear of getting it wrong. And the scary part is you can look successful while your nervous system is quietly drowning. Welcome back to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, the show where we keep mental health practical, human, and real. I'm Yusuf, and today I'm joined by Ali Badi. With 15 plus years in the credit and funding world and deep insight into what entrepreneurs go through when money pressure meets performance pressure. Our topic: how entrepreneurship impacts mental health, especially the stress around financial uncertainty, decision fatigue, and emotional regulation, and how building structured systems can reduce anxiety and strengthen resilience. So, if you are building a business while trying to keep your mind steady, this one is for you. With that, I welcome my guest Ali to the show.
How are you, Yusuf? Thank you for having me on the show today. Can't wait to get into the topics.
Perfect. Ali, before we get tactical, when you think about the founders you've worked with, what is the most common emotional moment you see that people don't talk about loud?
The decline. It's the
Okay.
bad months. It's the months that you have to kind of, put your best foot forward type of thing. And what happens is they never talk about the decline. They never talk about what it does to not only the staff, but it does to management and it does to the owner of the business. When you're watching the numbers slowly go down, well, who's going to get fired first? Whose job is on the line? Who do I have to let go? Um, that is the biggest thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is how much that goes into play. How much that goes into play, and how much people don't wanna talk about that. Forget about the incline and dealing with everything that's happening all at once. It's about now when it's going down. How do I go from being the one that is relied on to now figuring how to stop the holes, the water coming inside of the ship, how to stop bleeding, all that stuff. So, it's a lot of stuff that goes in their head that people don't talk about that, and that's the hardest one to talk about is literally the decline.
Mm, okay. And Ali, I'm curious, what do you think is the biggest misconceptions founders have about money stress? Like the story they tell themselves that makes it heavier than it needs to be.
It's not a money stress itself, it's expenditure stress. So money is
Okay.
not the stressor. It'll never be the stressor. It's about the expenses that you put on inside of money. For example, just to give you this example, um, once you get to a certain plateau, I'll give you example. In my company, when we reach $100,000 a month, okay, you'll be able to start to do this, right? But what happens if the next month you go, okay, so I'll be able to start doing this, and then the next month we go down? Now that's money stress. It's not
Mhm.
that it's okay. So now I added a new expenditure and I have to figure out how to pay that expenditure. Because now that what we set our goal, we hit our goal, but now we're missing that goal because something bad happened or some downturn happened or a new software came out or whatever. And you have to look at it like that is not everything is finite, you know? Every major company is fighting three major brands. You have to look at it like that, that you're gonna lose clients daily, you're gonna gain clients daily. But having numbers and bases that you have to hit and don't always keep your expenditures high is the key. That's why founders always find themselves in a really, really, really bad situation is realistically, I'm gonna tell you the truth, they over leverage themselves in certain situations and under leverage themselves in other situations. And that's the key. So then it focuses on money. Because if I
Mm.
have a steady clientele coming in, I have steady employees. I have steady everything. Or if everything is steady, my leverage, if I keep it low, I'll never have a money issue. But what happens is, what do we all want? As men, you and I are men, what do we want? We want the next thing. We always want to do the next thing. We don't stop. We don't say, my number is $100,000. I'm going to stop at 100,000. No, if I can make 100, I can make 200. If I can make 200, I can make 500. If I can make 500, I can make a million. If I can make a million, I can make 5 million. If I can make 5 million, I can make 10 million. And all of a sudden, that's what's in our head. So what happens is the leverages get pushed in the hope of more profits. Make sense?
Yeah. And that is very interesting because you're describing money stress not as a spreadsheet issue, but as a meaning issue, like what money represents: safety, identity, approval.
It's status. Money is status. Money's got nothing to do with anything else but status. In your business, money is status. Money equals power. Why do we have an evaluation on business? An evaluation on business is to say what we built is worth something, because that's why we're building it. Or do you get up in the morning to get on your podcast because it does nothing for you? Or do you get up in the morning because it does something for you? You built this podcast to not only support your family, but support yourself, support things that you want to do. So when we build something, we build it for success. We build it for the happiness of what it will provide us. I don't build my business for success. I didn't build my, excuse me, not for success. I didn't build my business because I wanted to. I built it for success. I built it I found a problem, I fixed the problem, and now I want success out of it. So you have to, look at the real thing that comes with it. Make sense?
Yeah, that indeed makes sense. And when founders are under credit pressure or uncertainty, what is the deeper pattern underneath? Fear of not being credible, fear of losing control, or
Failure.
disappointing people? Failure. Okay.
Failure. If you look in the mirror every single day and say, I do this for me, you're afraid of failing yourself. And what happens is you are afraid of all the time, all the stuff that you have put in, not actually being fruitful. That's why they're fair. That's why they're afraid of failure. They're not afraid of uncertainty or anything, because that's what they got in business for. You know, when let's be real, when the person is sitting down getting ready to start their business and they're looking at it, they say, look, I have a plan. I know the plan might not work, but that's uncertainty. I know the plan that might not work, but I have a feeling if I had to put my gut on it, if it's 75%, it's going to work. Let me tell you something. I'll bet on 75% on myself every day. Every day I'm betting on myself. But if I would bet myself on uncertainty when I started the business, why is it when I get to a certain point, now I get worried? No, that's when we mentally have to double down. Mentally, the uncertainty is controlled by us.
Hmm.
My employee quit. Well, okay, I have to fill in for my employee. Okay, I have to fill in for my employee. Another employee quit. Okay, how much do I have to do before it's like enough is enough? No. While the employee quit, you've got HR, you've got this, but it also matters the support team that's around you.
Yeah.
If don't build a good support team, your mind will go, like you say in the beginning, running 1,000 tabs at the same time that can't handle it all because you didn't build the support staff. Well, I call up the phone, I call my HR department. I need 3 employees in the next 24 hours. Can we make it happen? Yes. Boom. Click. Move on. Next task. Next task. Move on. That's what you put them in place for. You have to put them in place so you get rid of uncertainty. The only uncertainty is what I have, is what I went in with. And that's the key. That's how I go through it. What do I need? I call my business partner, X, Y, and Z needs to be done. Can you handle it? Yes. Boom. Move on to the next task. Because that's the key. We put too much on us and realize that we cannot. And I say this all the time. We are too prideful to ask for help.
Yeah.
But you know who I ask for help? inside of my company, the people that I pay you for a reason. I pay you to help me. I didn't pay you to come here and sit down and look pretty. If the company's doing bad and you don't want to help me, then you don't have a role here. Make sense?
Yes. And I want to ask this very, very carefully. How much of that anxiety is actually avoidable? Because people don't understand how institutions think and they are walking into decisions without a clear process.
Okay. Let's break it down as a pyramid, right? Or break it down as a circle, however you want to call it. But let's just break it down. I'm going to draw a web for you. If I have clients coming in, right? If I have clients coming in, right? And I have expenditures are high, okay? And I still have clients coming in, my ad spend, everything is working, all the stuff is working, okay? But I'm going down. Why am I going down? What is the avoidability of I'm going down? Well, there's two things that happen. My product cost went up, my employee cost went up, or my expenditures went up. So if those three things happen, right? Now my product price, the only solve is raising my product price. Okay, but raising my product price, I would lose half my people that are coming in. Okay, so then we have to lower expenditures. You always start with expenditures first, not employees. Employees is the last thing. Lower my expenditures. When I lower my expenditures, what's the next thing? Okay, when I look at my expenditures, then I go to I did my product price, I did my expenditures. Now the last thing is my employees. Look to see who's providing value. If they're not providing value, KPIs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, this is things that I've been going over myself lately. Just KPIs. If I built a KPI in 3 years ago, I wouldn't have half the problems that I have now. And it's not just anxiety, it's knowledge, it's wisdom. Because a KPI in human resource, just to give you that idea, human resource will give you measurable affects of what the client is doing. So not the client, excuse me, the employee. What your employee is doing. Well, okay, they're hitting their targets every third day. They're not hitting their targets every fourth day. The fifth day, they're just coasting along. The seventh, the first day, they're doing this. And this is during the week. The first day could be Saturday, and the last day could be Sunday, whatever the case may be. It's just, but if you have those numbers, you have that ideology, you're going to avoid a lot of your stressors. But also it is good employees, which that's very hard to find. The better the employee, the less anxiety a founder will have. The worse an employee, the more anxiety a founder will have. It's just known. It's just known because anxiety comes with the fear of the unknown of the future. If I fear that my employees cannot handle what is coming, how can I go out and actually, excuse me, actually do what needs to be done for them? That means bring in more work, bring in more contracts, bring in whatever we're trying to do. And if I can't do that because I don't trust them, then there's the problem. There's where the anxiety sets in. But if I have all those pieces set together and everything's working, I have good employees, and I have everything, and I have no anxiety. You have a perfectly working machine because a company is a machine. That's the thing. Each person inside of it is a cog in the wheel. And if one cog is not good, you will see the machine, the whole machine will start to break. But if a cog is good, if something is good inside of the machine, nothing will break.
That distinction is very powerful because some stress is part of entrepreneurship, but some stress is self inflicted through confusion, lack of structure, and guessing work that goes.
Yes. It is. Yes, yes, it is. It's just it is crazy on what happens and how much we can solve by understanding. People tell me they read 900, 1,000 books a year and all this stuff, and they have all this knowledge, but they still fail at a lot of things that they do because they don't have execution. And though I don't care how many books you read or what you read or what you do. What I care about is how you execute. Can you execute every single day? Can you wake up every day and do the hard thing? Can you do what needs to be done to get the job done? And a majority of the people cannot do that.
Okay. Ali, if a founder is listening right now and they feel that constant pressure, what is one structured system you'd suggest that reduces anxiety fast? Not by positive thinking, but by replacing chaos with clarity.
Well, where does the chaos start? You have to actually understand where your problems are coming from. And you know when a founder's looking at this, and I'll give you a perfect example. It happened to me a couple of months ago. Our lead source dried up, right? And I'm looking at it and I'm watching the leads go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. And I'm like, well, why is the lead source drying up? Who can answer this question to me? What can go on? And that anxiety, again, they start to set up that pressure constantly grows because of what? Because you didn't find the problem. Well, I went to the problem. I went to the source. I started asking my managers. I started asking well, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Okay, no problem. That creates anxiety. That level of unknown creates anxiety and pressure. But how do you solve the anxiety and pressure? Immediately. It's very simple. Go to the source, find the problem, and plug the problem. I went to the source. I said, "Hey, what's going on with you? I see that the leads are they're slowly going down. What's going on?" "Oh, we stopped marketing. We're gonna pick back marketing up in January." Ah, okay, beautiful. So what did I know? Okay, so right now until January, we're gonna have low numbers. Because we're gonna have low numbers, we're not gonna focus on numbers, we're gonna focus on quality. So now, instead of focus on the quality, instead of focusing on the numbers that are coming in, let's focus on the quality of what we do and see how we can increase our numbers by pure customer service. I just solved the problem. Now I don't have anxiety. Yes, my anxiety will always be money because now we don't have the same amount coming in. But now I know I'm tweaking my system and making my system better. But then once you be able to plug in, think about this, you can plug in a new lead source right on top of that lead source. What happens? What happens? Now I got two lead sources and I have quality on the other end because I took the time to understand what was going on. And by understanding and taking the time to understand what was going on, I stopped my stress, at least for what was going on, and focused on actually solving the problem. That's what we get as entrepreneurs and founders. We get caught up so much in
Hmm.
it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. What's the problem? And not solving it. We get caught up in let me go dump another $1,000 in ads. If your funnel is the problem, it doesn't matter if you dump $10,000 into ads, your funnel's the problem. You got to fix your funnel first. Let me go fix my funnel and still keep the same ad spend. Well, there's your problem. Go put some more money towards ad spend. Okay? My one closer is no longer closing anymore. Well, why is he no longer closing? Well, he's overworked and underwhelmed. Okay, why? Solve the problem. Okay, now the closer's happy. Okay, and a simple ad of, "Hey, closer, what's wrong with you?" I'm not able to see my child. Okay, let's uh, let's give you 2 days off during the week. Okay, yeah, business is going to suffer a little bit. Business is going to suffer between those 2 days. But what happens when you give him 2 days off and it comes back Monday through Friday like a bat out of hell? He makes up what he would have did on Saturday and Sunday if he was not focused on the job. So everything can be solved if you find the problem. And that's how you release the pressure. Solve your problems. Be done with the problems, is my quote. Always finish. Be done with it.
Yeah, I like how grounded that is because you basically are saying that don't build your funding decisions on adrenaline, build them on standards, readiness, and processes.
Yes. Yes, and it's a lot of what I built my business on, and it's what we built our AI software on is based upon those practices. You cannot go into it's perfect example. Think about the fog. You can't go into walking into the street with fog so thick you can't see in front of you. You know, I want to be that person that walks in the fog and not has to worry about fog because I got X-ray glasses on that can see through the fog. It's just funny. So
I
that's
think,
the key.
yeah. Ali, for people who want to learn from you or just want to connect with you, where can they find you?
They can find me on my social medias, which I'll give you my Instagram because that's the best one. It's never enough time 89. That's at never enough time 89, and that's on Instagram. You can get over there, and then I have a link tree on my Instagram you can go to at any point, and it'll pull you to all the rest of my socials.
Perfect. And to everyone listening, all these links are in the show notes, so just go and check those out.
Awesome.
Ali, is there any last message that you want to leave us with?
Always the always last message that I like to leave any person with is you're not the only person going through it. You're not the only person that's been in that problem. You're not the only person that's been in those shoes. And just because your company is having a downturn does not mean it's not successful. Just because you're experience a little hardship doesn't mean it's not successful. Just understand that everything that you're doing takes its up and down. It's called the ebbs and flows. I had to learn that the hard way. And when you go through your ebbs and flows, you got to be cognizant of it. And I'll be straight with everybody that's here. You know, you're going to get your ebbs and flows every day. When it happens, it happens. When it doesn't, it doesn't. But just be happy to understand what the ebbs and flows are. Be happy to understand what's going on and take everything with a grain of salt. Be happy. It's a process, it's a challenge, and enjoy the challenge. I forgot that at some point too when I realized that it became about stress because I was no longer looking at the challenge the way that I should have. It's a challenge, and life gets in the way of it. Families, families, mortgages, cars, houses, um, putting food on the table. All this stuff gets in the way of the challenge and the way of
Yeah.
the happiness of the challenge because it's like I gotta put food on the table, I gotta keep a roof over my head and this, that, and the other. But if you didn't have that, imagine that. Just take a step back and say, if I didn't have all this stuff right now, would I be stressing about this or would I be grinding for 24 hours or 72 hours or 3 months straight trying to figure what this challenge is? And if you're answering I would grind until I get it done, then that's your answer. You gotta grind. You got a family, but you still gotta grind. Because if you don't grind, for your family, what are you doing? That's your why. There's no other better why in the world. Before, when you were single and doing it when you're single, it was good, but you were doing it to spend money. Now you're doing it to provide. Every time that you put an extra hour in, right? It's going to pay dividends to your family and your legacy.
Wow. If this episode hit close to home, just take a second and breathe. Because you are not behind and you are not alone. The mental load of building something is real and it deserves care, not shame. If you want more conversations like this, practical, human, and grounded, follow Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. We are building a space where ambitious people don't have to sacrifice their inner life to succeed. Until next time, protect your mind like it is part of your business plan because it is.